Welcome back. You're still watching News Today here on the SABC News Channel 44. Now, earlier on, France was announced as the host nation for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. And for more on that, we now cross to our reporter, Craig Murray, who's standing by at the SA Rugby offices in Cape Town. Good afternoon to you, Craig. South Africa went from being the favourites to being snubbed of the 2023 Rugby World Cup hosting duties.
So a very somber mood here in that SARU house in Platteklip in Cape Town. Very disappointing, I'm sure, for rugby fans all over South Africa. I'm with Bubi Saban, the CFO of SA Rugby. Thank you for joining us, Bubi. Very disappointing, and especially so much hard work must have been put into this bid.
Absolutely disappointing, I think, for the rugby fraternity, for sport, and I think disappointment for South Africans in general. Correct.
Just to explain to the viewers out there, a lot of the experts don't seem to understand what happened here. Just to the lay people, South Africa were the preferred bidder. They started this new process, the World Rugby, and lots of questions and lots of answers that need to be answered.
Absolutely, I think a bit of a surprise for everybody. When we look at the new process introduced by World Rugby up until 15 months ago, we've gone through a process where an independent organization, independent entity evaluated the bids of the three nations, and through that process we actually scored the highest, and we were the recommended host country for this. But one must also understand that the process was down to the World Rugby Council voting that actually took place, and of the available 39 votes, it was a simple majority that was required for the host nation to be announced.
So lots happened now between 2 weeks ago when South Africa was the preferred bidder. I suppose you start a process like this to do away with scandals that have happened in the Olympic Games and in the FIFA World Cup. But that's at the same, back to lots of questions, because there's obviously lots of horse trading. South Africa, I must say, South African rugby have, they've been above board. There hasn't been, but obviously behind the scenes, a lot of things have happened amongst the French and amongst the Irish as well.
Absolutely. So just in terms of the process, and as I've just said, that it came down to the votes. Although we've put through a compelling proposition, a compelling bid, we've ticked all the correct boxes. We've put the resources in place. I think we've put our heart and soul into this. We've had backing from the government. As seen in the footage, we've had the Deputy President. We had the Sports Minister there. In terms of the public, the South African public at large, there's nothing that we did not do, but it came down to the votes. And I think what will have to happen, certainly into the future, is World Rugby will have to look at the processes that governs this, and perhaps in a year, for the next World Cup, we may have a different process.
Just, I mean, at a time like this where there's obviously everyone's very disappointed, as you say, just like to go on about government's involvement, because that was a big factor for South Africa being the preferred bidder. As you say, government, from the sports minister to the deputy minister, Cyril Ramaphosa, they gave some guarantees, financial guarantees. That it's nice to have that full support, and hopefully in the future, if we do bid again, that support will be there.
Yeah, and Craig, to be quite honest, I mean, the application, us standing here today, it would not have been possible without government intervention, government support, understanding that the amount of money just for the tournament guarantee, the host guarantee, was standing at £160 million. And when they did the initial scoring, that kind of just stood out compared to the other countries' guarantees that they were able to provide. Our government came out and actually supported that, and that was absolutely fundamental. Yeah.
Just, I mean, also, once South Africa was the preferred bidder, we then had the French delegation bad-mouthing the process, bad-mouthing South Africa, crime, etc., and Ireland also doing things like that. Do you think that will leave a little bit of a bitter taste with the South African delegation, with World Rugby, because it was all supposed to be above board and about integrity, and it was anything but?
I think that one has to look at the process, and one has to agree that at the council had voted. We will have to accept that vote, and they'll have to do the introspection. As we said, we are bitterly disappointed with the outcome. but we will have to leave it with World Rugby to be able to sort out those issues.
And just finally also, I suppose questions, and South Africa will ask those questions. This is a new thing that World Rugby started, and that maybe there'll be question marks. Is this the way to go forward? Because there's a lot of confusion at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, if you're the preferred bidder, but you don't know what's going to go behind the scenes, that maybe this will be something that will be relooked at.
I think so, and any process that has integrity, that is under the banner of good governance, of course we have to support that initiatives. I think perhaps it's just fine tweaking those processes, but it's definitely something that World Rugby will have to look at into the future. I think for now we need to just focus on, you know, Japan 2019 is on our doorstep. We need to prepare our teams. We need to prepare, I think, the country for the 2019 World Cup, and then have a discussion, I guess, later in terms of what's happening with 2027.
Bobby, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
That was Bobby Saban, who is the CFO of SA Rugby. Very somber mood, very obviously lots of disappointed people, lots of hard work went into that. But the one positive thing possibly is that the last time the Rugby World Cup was held in France in 2007, the Springboks were the world champions. Back to you guys in Johannesburg.